Hello, 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 hello. Hey, hello. It's the day after Easter. I didn't stream for Easter. Happy Easter. Happy 420. 420 was yesterday. Um, I'm not doing anything for 420. But happy Easter. I had a plan. I had a plan to make something for specific for Easter, and that is lamb Scotch eggs. So we're making lamb Scotch eggs. Now, I've never made any kind of Scotch eggs, so that's the adventure today. Is will these work out at all? I do have plenty of eggs. I'm intending to soft boil more. I'm only planning to make two because the Scotch egg is a pretty substantial thing when you get down to it. I'm planning on making two at the end. Mish, MJ, MJ, you're first. Oh my God! Congratulations! Happy first. Um, what was I saying? Scotch eggs. They're pretty substantial once they're done, so I'm only going to make two finished ones, but I'm worried about not getting the eggs very well, so I'm going to make a whole bunch of eggs. Um, which, fortunately, I have a lot of eggs, and they were on discount. So, perfect opportunity. Good morning, MJ. Good afternoon from me. Um, yeah, so that's the general plan. But Scotch eggs are not. They're supposedly, it's pub food from Scotland, but they seem awfully fussy for pub food. I suppose if you are well practiced and got the technique down and are making a lot of them, it wouldn't be that fussy. You could pre-cook all the eggs, and then all you've got to do is do a quick wrap and deep fry for each one. Heck, you could probably pre-cook all the eggs, pre-wrap all the eggs, and then it's just a matter of sticking them in the deep fryer when one gets ordered. Um, but when you're making just a couple from scratch, it's a lot of fuss. So as long as we've got the oil going, and since we need a side dish, I'm going to make French fries. We've made French fries before, and I've had a bit of a spotty record with getting them to come out good. Um, Also, I have potatoes. I didn't look at them today, so I hope they're still good. That's a consideration as well. So maybe we should look at the potatoes before we get too far in to see how they look. Anyways, eggs, potatoes, and for Easter, the Easter part of this, other than the eggs, is we're wrapping them in ground lamb instead of pork sausage. So we're going to also have to season up our own sausage mix with the lamb for our wrapping. I'm also, because lamb's a red meat, you can, not that it's any safer, but like beef and unlike pork, having it a little under isn't the end of the world. Although pork these days, having a little under also isn't the end of the world. Um, although they're getting rid of FDA inspections, so, maybe cook all of your pork super well done again. Who knows? Um, but anyways, because I've seen other people, specifically I've seen Babish, try to do Scotch eggs and repeatedly run into a problem of the sausage wasn't cooking all the way through to the surface of the egg. So I'm hedging my bets a little bit on that. And yeah, so slide over here. We've got eggs. We've got lamb meat. I should get out the potatoes. I need to look at the potatoes. They're not like old, but I want to make sure that we got some good potatoes in here before we commit to potatoes. Like this one doesn't look so good. It's got a green spot on it, and it's also tiny. Also, the eyes are starting to go on these potatoes, so we should probably, again, 1 serving of potatoes. 1 potato is quite a lot of potato. Hairless Bear, welcome in. Hello, hi, get in here. I'm always happy cooking, except for last week when I wasn't happy cooking, which is why I didn't cook. I was really tired last week. I'm not sure what happened. I was just like a general malaise took me. Anyways, I select those 2 potatoes. We are going to peel them, and since we're doing potatoes, we're gonna soak them first. We're gonna start with the potatoes so they can be soaking. There's going to be steps to this, and I don't want everything to be prepared in advance because it'll take too long in total if I do it that way. So we're starting by soaking the potatoes. Board peeler. Yep, see, there is a little bit of a greenish blush on some of these potatoes. That one I pointed out was greenish, visible on the outside of the skin, but there's a little blush in these guys, so peeling them is probably the good bet. A tiny bit of green on your potato is not going to hurt you. Fully greened up potatoes are toxic. I mean, the little bit of green is too, but it's not enough to, like, cause any trouble. But it's also bitter. The green stuff is annoying spot. That green stuff, Selena. Hello, hello, hello. Welcome, welcome, welcome. How goes? How goes? What was I saying? Bitterness. The green stuff is, if it's gone fully green, then it's gonna give you a tummy ache. If it's just a little tiny bit of green, unless you're super sensitive to it, it's not going to. But it is slightly on the bitter side, and it's a sign that your potatoes are getting a little old. They'll start to sprout. The green will spread. All those nasty things that you don't want your potatoes doing. So, if your potatoes are a little on the aged side, even if you like the potato skins, I would suggest peeling them just to get rid of that potential bitterness. Ryuya! Hi, hi, hi. Hello, hello, hello. Everybody's coming in here. Easter vacation screwed up your sleeping schedule. That's not ideal. Hope that sorts itself out soon. Also, Easter vacation. What's that? No, I actually did not have to work for Easter. I've had to work for other holidays, but Easter isn't a big like games holiday. So didn't bring in extra help for it. But I did have to work on Christmas Eve this past year. 3 days in a weekend. Oh, that's like a proper, full-on. You must have one of those fancy adult jobs, which is what they call jobs that do what people think jobs are supposed to do from 30 years ago. But that's nice. Nice holiday. I also had the day off. Didn't do anything. Just kind of putzed around here. I think I may have done overshot my potatoes. I should have done one potato. And I debated doing this yesterday, since I was off, didn't have to do anything. And this is an Easter themed thing today, so it would have made sense. And I just opted not to. I didn't do anything else. I didn't even really go anywhere. I was out all day on Friday. I took a road trip. And then work on Saturday. So then I was just like, I'm just gonna putz around. I'm just gonna putz around for Sunday. Okay, potatoes. We cut them into thick fries. And now we are going to fill this bowl with cold water. And the potatoes are going to soak in that cold water for however long it takes me to do other prep stages. We're going to attempt the double fry, which means they're going to have to be dried at around the time our oil, dried and ready to go at around the time our oil reaches 275. Because we're doing a cold fry followed by a hotter fry. And the hot fry is going to be in the same temperature range as the eggs, but the cold fry is going to be way below that. So, on our way up, we're going to watch our thermometer and throw the fries in for their initial thing. But then they have to fully cool before the second fry. It's going to be a little bit of an ordeal. And we're soaking them to extract some of the loose starch. The loose starch is what gives you a gummy potato or a gummy French fry. Now these are quite thick, so I'm hoping I get like really fluffy interiors and nice crispy outsides. I'm not confident in doing little skinny shoestrings like McDonald's style. Those are much harder to do at home without burning them, without overcooking them very quickly. And since I'm not super confident at fries at this stage, which I would like to be, the way I do fries typically is I do wedges and then I bake them at 500 degrees real fast to get that hard, crispy outside with a fluffy inside. And it works, but they don't stay crispy more than like 15 minutes. So you eat them fresh and hot, they're really good, but they go off much faster, which isn't ideal. You want your fries to hold a little bit. So we're gonna try that. We're gonna try that. Fries, frying. We also need another bowl of cold water, and this time it's going to be ice water. I don't want the ice. Don't want the ice. Yes. We're going to ice it now. I've freed up enough room in my freezer to actually put in one of my ice cube trays so we can have fresh ice. I've avoided doing things that call for ice because I had no room to put in an ice cube tray. These are my diamonds. Chaos Emerald ice cubes. They soak McDonald's fries in hot water. I don't know the full process. I know that McDonald's fries arrive at the McDonald's from their distributors already par fried. They do a multi-fry thing, but they par cook them. First of all, they have sugar on them. There's sugar and salt on them. They par cook them, and then they freeze them, and then they send those par cooked frozen fries to the store, to the restaurant, where they give them the second fry directly from frozen. At least that's how it's done in the US. I'm sure other places have different methods. That's how it's done in the US. I'm going to put more water in this ice cube tray and have ice tomorrow. Heck, I bet you other countries don't let McDonald's sugar their French fries. It's part of the addictive concoction of the McDonald's French fries that there's sugar, which also helps give them that really crisp exterior because the sugar crisps in the fry. Anyways, we want a bowl of ice water because we're doing cold shock on the eggs. That is going to set over there where nobody can see it. Well, you can kind of see it next to the thingy. And then the other part I'm not confident on, which is why we're doing extra eggs, soft boiled eggs. Glacier, you're not first. Congratulations. No one can take that away from you. Heading into lurk, heading home from work. Thank you for the lurk, Glacier. Good to see you. We will be here cooking away. Yeah, probably best not to chat while you're driving. I assume you're driving. Maybe you're flying. So I'm going to bring this up to a boil, and then I'm going to bring it down to just barely a boil, because I don't want a rolling boil to knock the eggs around. I want it to be like just to the point where it's bubbling but not roiling. WeFormer, you threw money at me. Oh my God, where am I gonna? Oh my God, WeFormer. I'm gonna shout you out, WeFormer. Hi, WeFormer. Welcome in. I'll make a noise. What noise do you want for your points? I know you haven't streamed in in ages at this point, but I insist on shouting you out. I should shout out Glacier too. Glacier streams. If you didn't know, Glacier Crest streams. I I've only seen driving, racing, but it's fun. I put it on the background sometimes. Usually, it's actually like after I end, they'll, I don't know, kick up, and then I put it on the background while I'm cleaning up stuff. But hi, WeFormer, welcome. How's it going? You're going to a con, right? I keep seeing you posting pictures of a convention prep, sparkly cards, and of your art. WeFormer's an artist. Go check out WeFormer. Ooh, ice water. Ice water's nice and cold. That's a good sign. That's a good sign. Level Up Expo. That was it. That was it. We got a minute to chat while that water boils. I don't want to do the next the next step. I suppose I can. No reason not to. Potato starch on the board. Let's just set it to the side. I can season up the meat. There they are. For those of you not in the know, WeFormer provided some emotes here on the channel. I did not get ground lamb on discount. I have in the past, but this time I couldn't find any. And I knew I needed the lamb, so we just went for fresh, which is, you know, probably a good idea. Probably a good idea in general. I might go too hard on the discount meats sometimes. I've only occasionally gotten sick. Oh, that's not squeezing out quite right. There we go. No, you. Good to see you, WeFormer, though. I know you always lament missing the stream, so good to see you. I'll waste this. I was unable to locate any ground rabbit. Or any rabbit that I was confident could be grinded. Oop, I hear agitation. Not necessarily sizzling. Your life is crazy. Well, your life is active at least. We are adding some spices. Lamb is a pretty assertive meat, so it can take some pretty assertive spicing. So we're gonna throw in some rosemary, and it can take a good amount. This is my homegrown rosemary. My rosemary plant unfortunately died, but when it did, I harvested every single leaf it had. So I've got a jar of all of its leaves. We're not salting it. Faceplant. Sorry, I read it from the front. Kagers. Hi. Welcome. And thank you for the resub. Amazing. 4 months. Has it been 4 months already? I haven't learned your name yet. Is that going to be enough rosemary? We might even want a little bit more. Bob. I'll forget that 1,000 times over. I can't learn people's names in real life when I know them. Our water is boiling vigorously, which is too much. We don't want it vigorous. We want to bring it down now. Bring it down now. If we put the eggs in now, they'll just start jumping and they'll all crack against the bottom. The way I have done eggs in the past, and that was for hard-boiled, and I'm following a different set of directions here to try to do a jammy soft boil, not a full runny soft boil, but just like where the yolk is still squidgy, soft, but not running out. Rosemary is quite a strong flavor, but lamb is quite a strong flavor. That's the thing. I don't have to use all of it. Maybe I'll use half of it. I don't know. I'll put it in there and then I'll smell the meat and see if it smells like overwhelmingly rosemary. We're going to throw some black pepper in there. Black pepper will burn in the oil. And many of these oily spices, herbs and spices, will burn quite easily. So it's better to mix them into in this case, for doing this, it's better to mix them into the meat rather than into the breading. I wanted some sage, and I couldn't find any whole leaf sage, so I got, unfortunately, you guys are over here. We're going to get to that water in a second once it stabilizes where I'm reasonably happy with it. I got some pre-ground sage because I couldn't find whole leaf sage, and it's too early for the greenhouses. So I've got a bunch of sage now. And boy, this lid has failed me. Ugh, weak sage. Trip. Sage. They really completely filled this thing with sage, didn't they? I guess we'll do stuff with sage. Hi, Trip. How's it going? What up? This is looking about where I was picturing it. The bubbles are moving fast, but there's not a roll to it. So we should be able to get the eggs in there pretty easily. We're going for a 7-minute egg, and I'm actually going to set the timer. The eggs are still chilly from having been in the fridge, but I got them out before we started, so they're not fridge cold, but also not quite room temp. They're in between. And they float a little bit because they're old. That's less than ideal. Yeah, those first two are definitely very old. And super floating. These next several seem more what I want, where they rest on the bottom. So those two floaty ones might just be a lost cause. Those were the last two from the previous carton, and I transferred them into this carton because this carton, the reason it was 99 cents was that were missing 2 eggs. So these 2 that are floating, that's a problem. We don't want them floating. So I might even throw another one in just as a safety. Just as a safety. We're doing one more as a safety. There. And now's my 7 minutes. So I probably... You should. You volunteered me to cook at your compound. Sure. It's a paid position, right? I can use the floating ones. I'm concerned the floating ones won't cook evenly, and thus we won't be able to peel them very well. They would honestly be best used as scrambled eggs. Rather than boiled eggs. I'm not going to fish them out now, but the floating ones are definitely wrong. I wonder if I can. No, I don't have a sharp enough thing. You can sometimes you can pop the. Yeah, the way to test the age of an egg is you put it in water, fresh water, not salt water, and a new egg, like a fresh egg, will sink straight to the bottom. As the egg ages, it gradually builds up a little bit of extra air inside the egg because the shell is slightly porous. So then they'll start to rest on their end, and eventually they'll float. And if it floats, it's old. And if it's old eggs are actually easier to peel. So I think the ones that are standing up are probably the best ones for doing boiled eggs because they're the easiest to peel, and peeling eggs is annoying. But if they're floating, that part that's above the water is not getting the same amount of heat as the rest of the egg that's in the water. So it's not going to cook evenly. So you would have to overshoot it to make sure that all the white is set properly, which means you're going to overcook the yolk, or you're definitely going to have a solid yolk. You're not going to get a nice yolk. These other guys are looking pretty good. They're setting straight on the bottom. They're fine. They're fine. So yeah, we'll see what those floaters end up looking like. I should have tested those in just a glass of water. The easiest way to do it is just get a glass of water, put an egg in it, see what it does. This is the problem with getting discount eggs. I've lost track of which one went in first, other than the floaters went in first. Just pushing them down a little bit so they get a little bit of heat on the top. But yeah, that's how eggs do. Oh yeah, good point. Yeah, the floating ones are probably going to end up hard. So yeah, for something like that, that's a good idea. Something. Also, you can just eat hard-boiled eggs. It's not like not like it have to be used for something special. You can also Scotch hard-boiled eggs. They don't have to be either runny or jammy on the inside. A runny yolk or a jammy yolk can be very nice, but the it's not like a hard cooked yolk is bad. You can eat hard-boiled eggs. I know. They're only bad when they get that green. Sort of get that green layer. That's when you overshoot and the sulfur compounds in the yolk start to denature. Um, that's what leads to that green, and it also is what leads to that. It makes the eggy smell stronger, which isn't ideal. Eggs are a luxury, and I was just fortunate enough to get some cheap eggs. Um, for some reason, when one or two eggs in a carton breaks, uh, they discount the whole carton by way more than two eggs worth. So I'm not going to argue, but it seems like a weird business plan. I have I don't boil eggs often, so I have very little practice with boiling eggs. But it's something I would like to get good at because getting the process down, nailed down for a good jammy egg. Um, and then you can make soy sauce, jammy soy sauce eggs, put them in your ramen, have amazing. I'm not actually a big fan of the classic like British style soft boiled egg. Um, because I really don't like an unset white. I like that jammy level because the white gets fully set and then the yolk is just sort of not runny, but it's like gooey. If I want a runny yolk, I'll fry it. 30 seconds. The You ended up not being able to see my timer at all through the steam of the eggs. I've never tried sous vide. I've heard that's good. I've heard that you can do some really strange things with it too, because of the extreme temperature control and the fact that the white and the yolk set at specific different temperatures. We can try that sometime. The price of eggs is actually coming down around me. Not massively, massively. Beep, 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 beep. The price of eggs is starting to come down around me for some of the more local farms. So that's perhaps a good sign. Let's take the heat off. And do you think we extract the? I think we extract the regular eggs first. We'll do the floaty ones at the very end. Give them that extra minute to. We're not wasting any of these eggs either. If one of these comes out undercooked, I'm gonna scramble it. Anyways, what we're doing now is we are cold shocking our eggs. So they're going right from the boiling water into an ice bath. And the floaters also float in the ice bath, which is a problem. We're cold shocking our eggs in an ice bath. This halts the cooking. Because if you're going for that soft yolk center, you want the heat that's penetrating from the outside. So the heat penetrates the egg from the outside, heading to the middle. The outer surface of the egg is always hotter than the interior of the egg until it fully equalizes. So if you just take your eggs out and let them set, that heat will equalize inward and overcook your yolk. The cold shock brings the exterior temperature of the egg right down, so that it, instead of the heat leaching inward, the heat starts to leach outward and equalizes at a non-cooking temperature. Probably still going to be warm, but it's not going to be warm enough to continue cooking. Let's pour out our boiling water. Boiling water is a good way to clean out your pipes. pour it down the pipes in your sink to dislodge gunk. And that's what we're doing here. Ice cubes and a bowl of water. And that all, and then of course these stupid floating ones that are also floating with part of them above the ice bath so they aren't cold shocking properly either. The cold shock also helps avoid the green ring on your yolk for full hard boil as well. So it is a good thing to practice when you're boiling your eggs. Those floaty ones are a problem. Okay, that's 7 eggs deep. Reset my. That was weird. My timer just had some kind of horrible aneurysm. We're going to need that timer for the fries later. And actually, we want that front burner right away to start warming our oil. So we'll get that started. We will get that started. Oop, don't glug on me. We're using our Dutch oven. We need depth. We need quite a lot of depth for the Scotch eggs. So, Dutch oven and a full jug of oil here. This was only a quart. Get that heat on. And again, we're shooting for a low temperature for our initial French fries fry. Come on. Don't be awkwardly stuck. There we go. You guys see the dial? Do you need to see the dial? Do you guys want to see the dial? Put the dial right there on the handle. I should really clean that thing off. So we're shooting over here for our initial fry, and then over here, where the red ticker is, for our final fry. The potatoes probably can get dried off now, but I'm going to do the meat first so then I can wash my hands. So we've got rosemary, sage, and black pepper. Anything else you think needs to go in there? I don't want to spice it too massively, but I feel like it could stand a little bit of something extra. I'm not intending to salt the meat. We can get salt in the breading, or we can just salt the thing at the end. What do we got? 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 We've got furikake. That might be an interesting topping. Coriander, mustard seed. That's an interesting idea. That's an interesting idea. That's an interesting idea. What if I pulverized up some mustard seed and threw it in there? What else we got? Oh, I know if I've got any. That'd be perfect. If I don't, I do. Some tarragon. I'm going to throw in some tarragon. want cardamom. Mint? Mint goes with lamb, right? Sure, I'm going to throw a little bit of mint. Flemish! Flemish, what are you doing? What are you doing? What's the deal with Flemish? Thank you so much. 9 months. 9 months. That's a baby. That's a Twitch baby. You've made a Twitch baby. One entire Twitch baby. Okay, we're going to mix this in. Try to get those spices as evenly distributed as I can, which I should have started out by sprinkling them more broadly instead of all right in a pile in the middle and then immediately folding it into the center so that there's like a big wad of spices in there. Big wad of spices. I think a little more seasoning. I ended up not doing the mustard. I speculated on the mustard and then I went with not mustard. Went with tarragon, which is not like mustard at all. Unrelated. But thank you so much, Flemish. And also, hello, welcome. We are seasoning up this, which is meats. You woke up from a 3-hour nap and feel like death. 3 hours is not a nap. You feel bad because that is too long for a nap. Well, I did miss it. Hi, Spear. Welcome, welcome. Unfortunately, this isn't beef. Unfortunately, this is not beef. This is Easter meat. But hi, welcome, welcome. I'm just trying to get these spices to move around in my Easter meat. Fresh ground Easter. Wash my hands again, because I'm not going to touch that now until we roll it out for our egu. We have stages to go through. Speaking of egu, speaking of egg, I think those eggs have bathed long enough. They've killed the ice cubes, just about. We also need to dry off our potatoes real quick. Because they need to be dry before we put them in the fry. Because if you put wet into fry oil, it explodes. And I don't want that to happen. I'm not interested in having an oil explosion today. So, let me grab a towel. I'll be right back. By which I mean I'm going to keep talking to you, but you can't see me. Spooky. Spooky. Too spooky. It would make epic content. It's probably against terms of service. I'm laying down a towel. Oop. Dropping my potatoes in the sink. The potatoes look very much the same, but the water, I should have showed you. I've already poured it off, so you cannot see it. I've deprived you of a thing. The water was murky, and that's the starch dissolving off of the potatoes into the water, which is exactly what we wanted. And then we want these guys in a single layer so that the towel will touch them. So that the towel, when I fold it over, will touch them. And then we just kind of make the towel touch them all until they are dry and the towel is less dry. Tell you what, you guys fund me enough to be able to get pay for replacing my kitchen when it burns down, and I will do oil explosions. Deal? They look pretty dry. They don't look wet. I'm going to leave them in the towel until we need them, though. It will help them to dry out just a little bit more. We're going to have to fry them in stages anyways. Our ice bath is no longer ice. It is still cold. How much could a new kitchen cost? Exactly. Get all my accoutrements set aside there. So the two floaty guys are still floaty, which is a problem. You want proof that we can actually eat a hard-boiled egg. Well, I'm not sure if any of these are hard-boiled. In fact, I hope they're not. I hope they're soft-boiled. Oh, now we got to crack eggs. We got a lot of time on the oil, so I got a lot of time to do this. I hate peeling boiled eggs. This has little ridge. This pan has little ridges in it, so it should prevent things from rolling around. You want to start with the weird ones? Because I do. Ooh, the membrane is really holding on to this guy. The shell is flaking away, but the membrane is... Hey, there's the giant... There's the giant balloon that was causing this thing to float. What do you know? Miracles do come true. I'm using the water because if you can get the water to get underneath the shell and the membrane, it will loosen it. It'll help loosen it up for the peeling. The ice shock should also do that. It should cause the egg to oh, I damaged the actual egg there. Ugh, I hate peeling eggs. Does anyone like peeling eggs? Wow, that is dramatic. It's like I've chopped the end off the egg already. Ooh, it's squidgy though. Which isn't a great sign for the other ones. Or maybe it is. We're doing practice eggs. There's a reason I made so many eggs when I only intended to scotch 2 of them. Ugh. Yeah, I'm losing bits of egg. The membrane is still holding on really, really strongly on this one, so I'm still getting just like flakes of shell instead of nice big pieces. Ah, damn it. Damn it. Absolutely mangled. Absolutely mangled. Absolutely mangled. Mangled. Look at all that egg that's stuck to the shell there. Now we can get it off. Mangled. Okay, well. Rolling. I did not. Was I supposed to? Like I said, I don't do boiled eggs a lot. Not really my thing. So no, I didn't. This was boiled in water. What's the temperature on those on that oil? This one's better. The rolling might be the way to go. I also like the method of water. These floaty ones definitely cooked unevenly as well. I've also heard running water helps. That the motion of the water can get in under that shell. But this one's coming off a little bit more even. Thus far. Right, I thought it weakens the shell, but I didn't think it did anything to the membrane is the part that's like hard to get at. Can anybody see the little temperature on the oil? Is it too far? Is it too small? Ah, dang it. That one caught. It's hot. Okay. Yeah, if it actually comes off in the end, it is nice. Although I've never done that with wallpaper. Wallpaper? Okay. Fortunately, a Scotch egg is covered in stuff and doesn't need to be perfectly smooth. So I can afford a few little nicks. But this one came out in much better shape than that first one, which was absolutely mangled. Our oil temperature is at 225 right now, so we're not quite there. There it is. Oh, it's also steamed up the thermometer a little bit. Okay, I guess we'll try one of these other eggs, like this one. Well, there's no egg leaking out, so that's a good sign. Ooh, 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 ooh. It feels like it's coming loose. Oh, this one feels a lot better. This one feels a lot better. The floaters might have just been too old for everything. That might have been the case. They were the last two from a previous carton, as I mentioned. Oh, this one's coming out smooth. Look at it go. George! George! I can't shout you out right now, George. Thanks for the moisten. Welcome in. Fellow internet chef, George Hot Sauce. We are we're peeling eggs, and we're getting better at it as we go. The first one was a disaster. A disaster. This one, looking pretty good. This one looking pretty good. Not perfect, not perfect. There's definitely a little crack along one side. But look! A smooth peeled egg. Ooh, and it's got a little bit of a squish to it. I can moisten. Give you a moist. Moist. Check on my oil temp. We're getting there, we're getting there. Probably one more egg and we'll be there. Let me give you a shout. And we'll do another egg. What's new, George? Been a minute. Ooh, this one might be slightly under. But we'll find out in a sec when we get in that shell. I think it's okay if they're slightly under because we can push them in the fryer a little bit longer. and it'll help stabilize the egg, just so long as they're not like gooey. Because then we'll just have egg goo. Isosceles. Are we Venmoing eggs? Yeah. They're the new currency in the post-apocalypse. Eggs. They're more valuable than anything else. Used to be gold. Now it's eggs. But Venmo is still around in the post-apocalypse. That's very important. Egg. Peek at our oil temp. Ooh, I think we can get away with one more egg. I don't want to roll these aggressively because they are meant to be soft cooked or jammy. So if they are soft in the middle, I don't want to really press down very hard. Can oil boil over? No. Well, not at the temperatures we're working with. The boiling point of oil is much higher than its flash point. So before it starts to boil, it will burst into flames. If you deprive it of oxygen so that it can't combust, then it will eventually boil, and it will do so at an insanely high temperature that your local home kitchen would not be able to achieve. That one came out real easy. That one is great. Look at that big, nice big piece, even. $2.75, just about, just about. I'm going to return to the eggs. I got some water on the floor. I got some eggy water on the floor. We're going to slide over here because we are on the other half of the project all of a sudden. We're dropping pans all over the place all of a sudden. We're on the other half of the project. This half. I'm going to go a couple layers deep on the paper toweling here. Yeah, perfect. 275 on the button. Catching tray. And our potato, which is going to have to be done in batches. Because there's too much here, it'll overwhelm the oil and kill our temperature. And we're setting a timer for this. Because we're supposed to fry them for 5 minutes. They're not going to look done, which is why I'm setting a timer. And we're getting out the spider. Oh, okay. My timer has died. It's doing this. It's having a freak out. Yeah, it's something's wrong with it. Wow, what is wrong with it? It might be low battery. But like the clock works fine. That's the perfect temperature. Google timer. Or duck go timer. I did 4 minutes. Oh, okay. You need to make sure the potatoes are not sticking to each other. Yeah, I'm going 3-ply on our paper because I want to use the same catching tray for multiple things. Should I do another egg? Probably not a safe bet. Let's see, what have I missed? Roll the batteries, replace. Lifetime movie starring Denzel Washington. That's oh my. Well, I wish you all the best, George. I feel like a lot of people are having a hard time right now. The sad truth of the matter. Based on the number of potatoes I've got, I think we're looking at 3 batches, three shots at this. Let's see if I can't. Well, the battery is a little button battery. Not a full and proper battery. So there's nothing to rotate. Homer. Hiya, Homer. Welcome, welcome. We haven't had lamb yet either. At the moment, we're working on potatoes. But the lamb is going to be the centerpiece. The centerpiece of our project. Okay, well, I took the battery out and put it back in, and it's working again. So we'll have the thing ready for the second batch, at least. But we are just a few seconds away, and I don't remember my timing. I know my timing was weird, so we're going to unoil these taters. They look... They're crispy. They're stiff. From the crispy, but they are obviously very pale. My internet timer is going off, which is good. Yeah, stop. Okay. Homer, Bezos bucks, 3-month streak, other words. Oh my God, Homer. Thank you so much. Thank you. The one place that you've decided to use your Prime sub. You only get one of those. And you've gifted it upon me. Taking money right out of Bezos' pocket. Giving it to me. I mean, really, how dare you? Stealing money from needy billionaires. Now how will he afford his third yacht? His third yacht for his yacht. Thank you so much, Homer. Yeah, I'm surprised by subscribers. I can't believe any of you people subscribe to this. Have you seen this show? It's awful. It's awful. Also, I don't have any sound effects, so I have to be the sound effects. How will Katy Perry get back to space? Exactly. I didn't set my timer. Or I did. I didn't turn it on. Well, thank you so much. Thank you so much. I'm glad we're on the same page here. Oh. With luck, our oil will not be super filthy after today's frying, and I will be able to just pour it back into the bottle instead of having to run it through a bunch of filters again. If you're frying potatoes, just potatoes, it will be mostly. Ooh, did you guys hear my stomach? I don't know if you picked up enough for you to hear it, but I heard it, and while I heard it, I saw my microphone pick it up. The mixer registered it. I might be a little bit hungry. Who'da thunk? I'da thunk. I had a very light lunch. I need to stop eating massive lunches on stream days because then I get in and like I gotta make food. Oh my God, food. And then I end up eating way too much again because I can't not make something impressive. Oh, I'm gonna wipe that egg puddle off the floor so that I don't step in it and get wet socks. Because that doesn't sound fun. That doesn't sound fun at all. I think we're gonna cut one of these wreckage old eggs in half and see what it's like, and then eat it. In fact, we could do that now. I got time. I got time. Mish still wants to see proof that you can actually eat a hard-boiled egg and not just use it as currency. So let's take that one and a nice sharp knife and just hey, it's not completely hard. It's a funny shape, but it's hard on the outside, but it's got that little jammy center still. We didn't overshoot. I'm impressed. Even the old weird one didn't go. That's a good sign for the ones we actually want to use. I am hungry, so I'm going to eat this egg with some salt. Wow. It's ugly as hell. Yeah, no, it looks terrible, but it looks like I cut the end off this egg. It's good though. It's a good texture. The white is nice and firm. The yolk is just got a little bit of a creaminess to it. It's good. No, I'm pleased. Yeah, it looks like I cut the end off with a wire. Like that one looked bad. This one's terrible. This one, the shell all stuck. Tasty. I do like eggs. I know not everyone likes eggs, but boy, when eggs got super, my eggs are coming down, and also, as I've pointed out a couple times, these eggs were ridiculously cheap. When eggs got super expensive, I was real sad because I like eggs, and I like to grab an egg and use it as a quick add-on to something. Oop. And when eggs are like at a premium, you don't feel like you can just chuck an egg in something. And I noticed one thing that really highlighted that fact. You know that brand of they're like little breakfast bowl things, and the brand is called Just Crack an Egg, because it's got all the other stuff in it, and all you got to do is crack an egg into the little bowl, and you get like a little breakfast scramble thing. Those kept showing up in the clearance bin when eggs were super expensive, because just crack an egg becomes this prohibitive thing. The egg ends up being more expensive than the just crack an egg thing. Okay, we'll let that come up another 5 degrees back to our starting point, but then we got our last batch of fries, and then we're going to take it all the way to the other end. And in the process of doing that, we need to get our eggs finished, because then the eggs go in. We also need another egg. Oh, I should have used those floaty ones for our egg bath, because we are breading these things, which means we have to dip them in an egg bath. That's what those would have been used, should have been used for. Okay. Reset. Five minutes. And it symbolizes how Jesus looked coming out of the tomb. Yeah, with like his bottom taken off perfectly evenly, and like half of one side stayed in the water. Yes, very late. Definitely should have noticed that. Definitely should have like age tested the eggs right away. Said like, oh, these eggs are too old. But hey, I need eggs for the bath. That would have been the time to do it. You know, as they say, hindsight is something something. Oil is back at temp. I'm doing that because I don't want to splash the oil. I don't want to just drop stuff in. But... Okay, timer, go. While the timer's going, this time I'm going to attempt to peel another egg because I feel like I'm just sitting around. Which end of this egg is the egg with the... Did I get an egg that doesn't have a thingy on it? The little balloon? Oh no! It tore the white. This one's not perfect. I don't want to splash. I'm already getting water everywhere. I don't want to make that worse. So I'm resisting doing that. If there was not water in the bowl, I think I would do that. Bob. Sorry, I'm remembering your name by saying it with incredulity. Oh, there's our little balloon. You should start at the little balloon because it gives you a place to get underneath the membrane. Okay, a little damage on that guy. Not too bad. It'll still scotch well. That took me 2.5 minutes. So let's try to speed through the last one and get it done before the timer goes off and I'm required to get my potatoes out. 7 hours later. Empanada! I cannot shut you out, empanada! Hello, hello. My hands are all wet. Welcome, welcome. Welcome, welcome. This one's coming out. This one, oh my god, this one just fell out of its shell. That one just fell out of the shell. That one's perfect. That one's perfect. That was the best one. Last one was the best one, which is good because I needed it to be done in under 2 minutes, and it super was. Now we can get rid of the big bowl of shell water. Oh my god. Well, now I can shout you out because my eggs aren't... Sorry, my hands aren't full of egg water anymore. Empanada, how's it going? Your name's not Empanada. Your name's Emistros. Am I rich? Yes. Filthy rich. Millionaire. All of it in eggs. These 6 eggs, $1 million. No, I got I got some discount eggs. Although, I was mentioning earlier, the local farms, the farms that are more local to me that sell their eggs in the local grocery stores, their prices are coming down. The big national chains, their prices are still high. So there's a localized decline in eggs. Yes, discount eggs. They were used eggs. Yeah, somebody got halfway through making eggs and then put them back. Didn't want them, took them back to the store. No, the for some reason when a couple of eggs are broken in a carton, this one grocery store takes the broken ones out and then discounts the rest of the carton by a lot. That's our timer. So I can get 11 eggs, not a full dozen. I can get 11 eggs. In that case, it was 10 eggs for $1, which is insane. Why am I touching the freshly boiled potato? I didn't switch the camera. You guys cannot see potato land over here. Potatoes. And now that has to get to there. So we're going to turn it up a little bit. Reset timer. Perfect. Basic French fry recipe. How long do we fry it the second time? Well, until golden brown, right? The second one's easy because you go until golden brown. Yeah. This stage is the one that you got to time it because they don't look done when they're ready to go. They also need to be done long enough in advance that they cool because they don't want to go in there still hot. We don't need the potato towel anymore. And we do need some more eggs. It's a lot of eggs today. We don't need the lid to the Dutch oven anymore. Egg. I'm also not clear on how big of a meat patty I need to make, so that's going to be fun. A fun discovery that we can make together. Over here. So we have our eggs and we have our meat. And we need to make that go around that. We want a thin, contiguous layer of meat around each egg. And then we can think about doing breadings. But we want it to be pretty thin. So I'm going to wrap as many. I only intended to do 2, but really I'm going to wrap as many as will work with the amount of meat, because I don't have anything to do with the extra meat today. We overworked our meat a little bit, which actually benefits in that it is slightly sticky at this stage so that you can form a sheet. Which egg would you like? Other than that one. That one's off the table because that one's a mess. Which egg do we think? I'm leaning towards this one. I don't know why. Ars Novaria. Ars Novaria. Hi. Leftmost. You want this one. Bob wants the bottom center. Rhea wants leftmost. Well, we're definitely doing at least 2 eggs, so we can do those 2. I'm going to start with the one I pointed at. Ooh, we got too much meat out. Got out too much meat. Extra meat. But hello, welcome in. Ars Novaria. Oh, we might do a whole bunch of eggs actually, with the amount of meat. And we want to make sure that there's no air spaces in there. So we're going to squish it together. And we're also going to make sure there's no gaps, which we do have one right there. Right there. Okay, that was not as hard as I had feared it might be. Let's do Ryuya's next. Also, I took out too much meat for that first one. I keep wanting to say Ars Novaria again. It's a good name. It's a good strong name. What's our oil temperature looking like? We're crossing 315 over there. What are you? Are you a piece of something? It had better be. I'm bankrupting myself for these eggs. No, we just talked about how these eggs were cheap eggs. I'm hoping that our seasoning comes through gently. I don't want it overwhelming. The fact that I'm using lamb means we're going to have a fairly strong flavor from that already. So this should be quite a flavorful end result. This one did not work out as well. I've got a couple of spots to patch. Welcome. I don't know that I'm doing this efficiently, Flemish. I do know that this is what you gotta do, but there's probably a better overall way to do it. But hi, Bookwoman. Welcome, welcome. Good to see ya. We're making sure that we don't have any egg peeking out of our eggs. Our eggs. I don't know why I said it like that. There was no real reason. You never heard of Scotched? You never heard of Scotched eggs? Well, they're usually called Scotch eggs, but the process is scotching, so technically it should be Scotched eggs. And yeah, it's usually pork sausage. It's a soft-boiled egg. Wrapped in pork sausage. Well, wrapped in sausage, but pork sausage is the most accessible sausage. Well, that one worked perfectly. The safe way to do them is hard cooked eggs, because then you can just make sure that they are hard cooked. Far easier to do than soft. And fry them up and serve them. But they're supposed to be traditionally a soft egg. I was shooting for a jammy egg because I don't really want them to be runny, runny soft. With the amount of meat I've got, I guess I'm just powering through. We might even do the stupid one. Trying different methods. That one was like a full wraparound roll. This one, I don't know. I feel like there's got to be a method to this madness. Again, they're not British so much as they're Scottish, hence the Scotch. But from the British, they're getting the soft cooked eggs. The Brits love runny, their runny eggs. That one looks like the alien egg. Well, I've got some scotch, so we can try that one too. I do know that making these with properly, fully soft cooked eggs is a bit harder than what I'm doing here, because a properly soft boiled egg is difficult to peel because it's like wobbly, and is much more delicate versus the wrapping process. Also, Bookwoman, yes, we are doing. I was going to do 2 eggs because I was like, I don't need to eat a ton of eggs. Um, but with the amount of meat I've got, wow, the guide recipe I looked up for this said get 6 eggs and 2 pounds of sausage. And I thought, okay, I'm not going to do that many. I'll just get 1 pound of lamb because you can't really get it less than a pound um, effectively. Uh, but no, man, that's a lot. This is our last one of our good ones. This was our most perfect one, the one that came out right at the end. Bookwoman, yes. Lots of eggs. I got discount eggs. I found bargain bin eggs. This dozen eggs cost $1. Well, this 10 eggs cost $1 because it wasn't a full dozen, which is why it was in the bargain bin. I guess we have some extra lamb sausage here to do something with. There's our eggs. Just double check that there's no gaps. We don't really want the oil, the boiling oil, the hot oil, to get inside. We're at 350, so we should fry soon. We don't want to get the hot oil inside the sausage layer at all. It runs the risk of... There's a few little bits in my sausage that I don't super like the looks of. It runs the risk of destabilizing the wrapping and detaching the shell. I guess we'll have a whole bunch of eggs for the photo, at least. Okay. Well, I've got about that much lamb left. I guess we'll figure out what to do with that. Do I wash my hands right now? Yes. Yes, I do. We're frying them one at a time, though. I'm not beating around with trying to get them more than one of them in there. I want to be able to tend to the one that's in there. Roll it in bread and fry it like the others. I feel like it'll be very raw in the middle if I do that. I could make small meatballs, though. I could make smaller meatballs out of it. Do they get rolled in flour and breadcrumbs? They do. They get rolled in flour, more egg, and breadcrumbs. It's a full breading on the outside. So that's what we have to do next. That is going to be my egg station. Tiny Whisk, where have you gone? Hopefully that's enough egg. I can add more if I need more. What's our temperature looking at? We're at 3, we're about 365. These are supposed to go pretty hot, so we're going for the high end. But I am gonna ease off the burner just a hair. That is a good thing to do with meatballs. Funny you should mention marinara. I spent much of yesterday making a large batch of homemade marinara because I found a bag of tomatoes in the bargain bin and was like, I gotta use these because tomatoes don't keep at all. So I got a whole bunch of freshly made marinara, homemade marinara in my fridge right now. Okay, that little one and the one I used
the one I used yesterday for my braise.
I made braised salmon, marinara braised salmon yesterday. That was the other thing I did. Boy, didn't take pictures of any of that. You guys missed out because I didn't tell you about it. But we can do meatballs. Ooh, we're right at temp too, so I gotta get on this. Nope. I'm going to give us a little salt in our outermost layer. I'm going to give us some pepper in that layer. Ugh, doing this in the little bowl might have been a mistake. If you've never encountered Scottish food before, the Scottish love deep frying stuff. Their most famous food is the haggis, but really, the Scottish love deep frying things. And they make surprisingly good Italian food in Scotland. Okay, that guy. My hands are a mess. That guy's got to go in right now, though. Okay, I'm gonna rinse my hands off. I feel like the egg needs to be in a different container, a different vessel, because I can't roll it around effectively in that little one. It's just slightly too small. It fits the thing perfectly, but I can't get my fingers in there. So I think we're gonna up that to this, which is a wider dish. But I should be able to roll it around without digging into it quite so much. And this guy on this side now, we're going to get out a frying chopsticks in order to push him around. He won't float. I don't think he'll float. So we're gonna have to take some peeks at it. Oh yeah, chopsticks. I've got really long chopsticks. They're 15-inch chopsticks. There they are. There they are. For stuff like this. They're super useful. I got them as a gift. And then I got more of them as a gift from a different person. Which means I've got a whole bunch of them now. I don't really know how long to fry this, other than I want like a deep golden brown. So I'm going to look that up real quick. Yeah. Just says until deep golden brown. Which means we're going to have to... It's browning very quickly. It's got a good hard shell on it too. I can feel it against the chopsticks. I don't want to burn it, but I want to go about as far as I can before that, just because I want to make sure that that meat has a chance to get nice and cooked. But it's looking already a good color, I think. I'd say, right? This is why we want the sausage layer to be quite thin, because the egg is already cooked, but the sausage needs to cook in this process. And it needs to do that before the breading burns. The temperature is past the sweet spot on the dial. The sweet spot on the dial is set for the fries. I was instructed by this recipe, which is just all recipes, to go hotter for the egg. Of course, the all recipes one also says put it in the oven afterwards. So I'm not going to do that part. But I am going to, and again, there's no times on that one. It just says until golden. Look at that. Look at it, though. Look at it. Look at it. Witness it. I mean, that looks pretty good to me. Let's, it's got a nice hard shell. Also, yeah, I also noticed that, and I ticked my burner down just another ever so slight. You are hot. Okay, well, like I said, we're doing this one at a time. It looks really good. It's got a nice hard shell. Everything looks on point. So we sally forth. We carry on. Ugh, rolling these in the egg is just the hard part. That's just going to be a fact of the process, I think. And I am patting on the panko to ensure adhesion. In other things, I just trust that it'll stick enough, but for these, I want a good coverage. And then we dust our hands off. And then we keep our wet fingers away from the oil. egg 2. So far, things are looking good. Things are looking on point. It does look a lot like a potato, which is funny because the potato that's next to it looks nothing like a potato. We've taken a potato and turned it into something else, and then taken something else and turned it into a potato. See, this is why we needed very deep oil for this. There's no way to shallow, like the French fries, we could do shallow fried. The Scotch egg wants to be fully immersed like this to get that even cook. So it has to be deep enough for the Scotch egg to get in there. I purchased pre-ground lamb. Came in a container. I didn't grind my own. We did not do a grind your own today. I do have a grinder. We got a grinder. I've only used it a little bit. It's really hard to see the egg in there while it's going. But also welcome in. And don't worry about being late. Never worry about being late. Unless, you wanted to be on time so you didn't miss stuff. That's, in which case, do better. Rinse that down. So no, we pre-ground lamb. I cut my own fries. We possibly successfully did jammy eggs because the one that I tested, which I thought was going to be hard cooked, was still slightly jammy in the middle. So hopefully the ones that I thought were jammy will be maybe even on the slightly runny side of jammy. That would be good. I'm also hopeful that our meat is actually getting cooked through properly. I don't really want to bite into some raw meat. Like I said, lamb you can get away with being a little on the rare side, unlike pork. Because I'm not 100% confident, we are erring on the side. We're using red meat because I can err on the side of caution with it. Can you blame ever? You can. You can always blame Mr. Dream. He is very blamable. Super blamable. And then once the eggs are out, I'm tempted to put the oven on to warm. And by tempted, I mean I'm literally doing this. I'm going to put the oven on to warm. And I'm going to have it keep my eggs warm. You didn't mention the meat. Oh, the meat toaster. The meat toaster is still in pieces. There it is. The meat toaster is still in pieces. We have not yet repaired the meat toaster. I did find out that the plug... Uh-oh. This guy's coming out because he suddenly started bubbling very aggressively, which is a sign that something broke, something ruptured and is coming out from the inside. which means it's time to roll another one up. The plug, I had the meat toaster. Remember when I did the meat toast? We did the thing with the meat toaster. I had it plugged in over there on the stove, and the cord got really hot up by where the plug was attached. Well, that socket that it was in has died since then. So I'm no longer entirely convinced that it was the cord. I'm going to have to test the meat toaster in different outlets to see if maybe the heat was coming from the outlet. I'm also going to have to tell my landlord that that outlet died, because that's not a good sign. But anyways, I do want to return to meat toaster. Authorities should be notified that I possess meat toaster. Ugh, no, they'll deport me. We'll call the authorities about the meat toaster, and then my next stream will be making toilet gin. So yeah, that last egg, just at the end there, suddenly got really loud in the fry, which is a sign that some liquid from inside was abruptly leaking out quite fast into the oil. Into the oil. Which is why I quickly took it out. I didn't want, like I said, I don't want the oil to get underneath the meat layer at all. Okay, that egg can rest in our warming oven. How do you guys feel about making toilet gin? Let's do that next, right? Okay. Okay. I think I need another egg. I think I need another egg. Oop. Nope, you guys are there. Wrong location. These are some good looking eggs. Especially if I want to do little meatballs. Did you? Oh, oh no, we're hating on gin now. Oh no, now I have to ban Flemish. Oh no. Ah. topping up all of my penne stations a little bit. A little bit more panko, a little bit more flour, and an additional egg. Let's see how this guy's looking. Let's see how this guy's looking. I took the other ones a little bit farther than that. He's got a nice hard crust, though. The old-timey bathtub gin. I don't know why bathtub gin is the default. Feels like there are other things you could make in the bathtub. Well, we definitely have crumbs in my fry oil. You can see them there at the bottom. So we are going to have to probably filter it, which is unfortunate. I hate filtering it, but oh well. It's looking just about right, though, so I think we're going to pull it. Plunk it there, and get the next one ready. Again, I wasn't expecting to do 5 of these. Good thing I made 5 eggs. I was going to make some safety eggs. Rayuya, I'm not going to read the whole thing, but Rayuya, thank you for the history of bathtub gin. Rayuya, as always, is more on top of stuff than I am. Beet gin. Okay, our temperature's coming right back, so we will go right in with egg 4. 4 of 2. Because again, I tended to make 2. It's getting away from me. I intended to make 2. We're going to pick one of these to cut in half, too, because I got to have one for the display. Let's see. Juniper oil into a rank gin that they watered down. So they used the bathtub. Okay. I'm going to make a bunch of little meatballs out of the remaining lamb. I assume that the beets are used because they're high in sugar. So it won't necessarily taste like beet at the end. Oh, I missed your comment about hand washing and rolling there, bookwoman. Um, oh well, I guess it's too late now. I would like to see how it turns out. Um, I don't know if the color. It would depend if the colored part of the beet survives the distilling process. Who knows? Maybe it will taste like beet. I bet you could make one that does taste of beets. I would imagine if you're trying to sell it as gin, people aren't going to go for bright red gin. That might put people off. But who knows? Maybe they just put it in a dark brown bottle and nobody could tell the difference. Well, it's a good thing I'm so hungry because I'm making a feast. You could secure the Goth. Now, yes. I feel like this was being made during Prohibition when the Goths were closer to being the old European Visigoths. Yeah, I'm going to fry them up. I don't know if I'm going to eat them now, but I'm going to fry them up. The extra marinara would be good. I could have those on the spaghetti or something. We'll fry them in this. We'll fry them up in this oil. This here oil. Once I've got all of these eggs, these here eggs, done. You hear? You know what I haven't done today so far? I haven't asked you folks how you're doing and what you're having for dinner. I always ask what you guys are having for dinner. Some of you have volunteered how you're doing, but what's for dinner? I'm having a thing. I'm doing a whole project today. We did a whole project today. Oop, I poked that one and a bunch of the breading flaked off. That's not ideal. Looks fine. Still has overall cohesion. Oh, and I've got a picture to share with you guys. I took it. It was on my camera station, so it has since moved. But I took it while it was on the camera station. I may have mentioned a few months ago that I was gathering srirachas with the intent of doing a sriracha taste test. Well, that process has continued, and I may have gone overboard with the number of srirachas. We have a few. Dozen. Leftover chicken tagine. Leftover puff pastry. And Japanese curry pasties. Also, hi Goldie. Welcome in. What an entrance. Curry pasties. That guy's looking pretty deeply golden browned. Goldie coming in here with curry pasties, showing us all up. All I've got are these stupid egg balls. All I've got are these dumb egg balls. Diced roast beef, mushrooms, soy, mirin, oyster sauce, reduction. I love the word reduction in cooking. Because it sounds so fancy. Too busy watching me to cook. Okay, well, fair enough. I accept responsibility for people who are starving because they can't be bothered. They can't look away. Okay, last one. Going in the oil. Oops. Bumping the thermometer awkwardly. This one has cooled off just enough for me to touch it, so we're going to put it in with the other guys to keep warm. In my keep warm oven. Well, I've tried to make the meat layer very thin so it'll cook through. We're also using lamb today, which is a very assertively flavored meat just on its own. But this is literally my first attempt at making Scotch eggs, and only one of like 2 attempts at making soft-boiled eggs. And the last attempt was a extreme fail. So we are in uncharted territory for the old Jovian here, which is half the fun. I'm not huge on boiling eggs in general. I've had Scotch eggs all of one time at an Irish pub here in Wisconsin. They were fine. They were served a little bit strangely because they were on the menu as a meal. Yes, this is my Scotch egg personal best, even if it ends up being a complete failure somehow. It's not too late. It's never too late for a complete failure. This is currently my personal best. I floured my meatballs. I'm really hungry too. I had an early and light lunch, which is not a good combination for being for having a late dinner, but we're having a heavy dinner, so we shan't need any more flour. I will put the flour tower, the tower of flour, away. I've already put, we shan't need any more eggs. I shall put the remaining eggs away. We shan't need any more panko. That's the empty one, though, so that can just go there. Our potato towel's gonna go in the laundry. Just pre-tidying stuff while am waiting. Of course, we can't just fry those meatballs right off in here because we have to do the potatoes because that's like our actual project today. I've got bits of Scotch egg under my fingernails. That's going to be fun to dig out later. So yeah, we're going to get this guy done. Then we're going to bring our temperature down to 350, stabilize it there, and do the second fry on the fries, which should go quite quickly. Then we'll salt the fries, and I'm going to want to serve my egg with mustard. We got to think about serving. We're at the point where we got to start thinking about serving. Do we do 2 dips? Do we do? I don't. I have ketchup. I could do mustard and fry sauce. We have yellow and pink. Needs a little bit more brown on his golden. Anything else? Anything else go with Scotch egg? Like a gravy, but I don't really have time to make a gravy. And again, I think mustard is the go-to, the classic go-to in my head. I just want fry sauce for the fries. Okay. Egg successfully scotched. Whether or not it's good, we'll find out a little bit later on. Coleman's English mustard. I don't have any Coleman's. Sharpened vinegary. Hot sauce. I have a couple different kinds of mustard. We're going to let this... Actually, it's already at 350, so we should go right in with the fries. No sense in waiting. I don't have Coleman's. I do have some whole mustard seed. We could grind our own mustard to make a really fresh, spicy mustard. Otherwise, I've got pre-made stone ground Dijon, honey mustard, Dusseldorf mustard, we have Crystal hot sauce, we have Valentina hot sauce, we have Swamp Dragon hot sauce, we have one of my friends gave me a bottle of homemade hot sauce. We got to keep an eye on those fries. Is there a mustard up here? What are you? Chili sauce. Pickled lemons. Chimichurri. Artichoke hearts. Rummage around my cupboard for a minute. You'll find everything. Say it in a continental accent. For the fries, we're looking for them to float, which they are doing, and we're looking for a golden brown, which we're almost at. But floating is key. Floating is a good sign. Get the final egg in my warming space. I think that looks like a golden brown. Swamp Dragon hot sauce is less heartburny. Swamp Dragon hot sauce is not made with vinegar. It is instead made with rum. It uses alcohol, and it therefore is alcoholic. It uses alcohol as the medium instead of vinegar. And as a result, it's quite sweet because it has none of the acidic sharpness of vinegar. I don't have Tapatio. I do have Valentina, which is another Mexican hot sauce. So we could do that. Oop, I should have let my temperature stabilize before I put the next batch in. These ones are going to be a little bit weird. Here, I've got it here. Swamp Dragon, and as it proudly says, no vinegar. It is this one is rum-based, but the idea is that they're liquor-based hot sauces instead of vinegar-based hot sauces, because there are a lot of people, I've spoken to a number of people, who are put off by even the idea of vinegar. And this stuff turned out to be really tasty. And like, it's spicy, it smells like cayenne, like hot sauce. But then when you taste it, it has this interesting sweetness because it is lacking that sharp, acidic bite of like a Crystal or a Louisiana hot, which you don't realize that you're expecting that in a hot sauce until it's not there. But I quite like it. I did not salt the fries when they came out. Give me another bowl. So many bowls today. I do know some vinegar phobes. I was once talking to someone just about barbecue sauce in general, and I mentioned vinegar, and they were like, "Oh, I like barbecue sauce, but I don't like vinegar. I can't stand anything with vinegar in it." And then I had to tactfully tell them that, I lied to them and said that not all barbecue sauces have vinegar in them. All barbecue sauces have vinegar in them. Are these? Those are pretty good. Okay, now we're gonna for sure let that stabilize back up before we do the last batch, because I don't want to. If you fry stuff in too low of a temperature, it absorbs a lot more oil, and we'd end up with really overly greasy fries, which is not pleasant. Gonna throw away my egg shells real quick because I looked over, saw them, and was like, I should throw those away. And then I did it because I have no impulse control. And also because we have a minute for that to heat back up. I hope that that person went on to not look at the ingredients on their favorite barbecue sauces and just enjoy them, ignorant of the vinegar. Personally, I look for barbecue sauces where vinegar is the first ingredient. I want that to be upfront, and also it frequently means that the first ingredient is not sugar, which I avoid ones where the first ingredient is sugar. About halfway there. How are we serving this? How are we serving this? Are we? Oh, we could do square plate. We could do square plate with two of our square dip bowls on the corners, and then egg on one side, fries on the other. It's going to look very brown, so I think either bright colors or sharp contrasts in the plate is going to be important, because we currently have golden brown and a different kind of golden brown as our food colors. And among the mustards, they're all, I don't have French yellow mustard. I have fairly brownish mustards. The square plate does not have a smooth edge. It has this inner lip, and then the square dipping trays fit in those corners pretty well. So if I did two dips, I could organize them like that, and then have fries and eggs. Alternatively, these guys haven't found a home in the cupboard. I've got a round version of the same. Obviously those don't fit quite as well, but could still make for a striking thing with one dip. I'm leaning toward the squares. How's our temperature? we're there. Okay. Gotta clean stuff up. Hoo-wee! It's been an adventure today. This has been a bit of an adventure today. I actually need this board out still because I'm going to cut an egg in half on it. Tidying up our 7 little meatballs. And our fries are floating and developing a golden brown, so I guess we take those out as well. I'm shaking the oil off. This is why I'm holding it here, because I'm not putting it on the rack. I'm putting it right into the bowl with the other ones. I want to shake that extra oil off. Give them a shot of salt. And then shake, shake, shake. Okay. Fries. Oil. I'm gonna deep fry my meatballs while we're thinking about the rest of this. All of them. Niche likes meatballs or slimy egg play? Why did I say that? Why did I say that? Why were those the words my mouth decided to make? Ugh. A lot of meat in ball form. You know, I've noticed that it's a pretty common thing all over the world. The ballified meat. The ballified meat is one of those universal things, like the dumpling and bread. They're all a little bit different, but it's one of those things. Every culture on Earth has independently discovered, what if we took meat and made ball? Okay. That's exactly why I wasn't dropping them in earlier. Hot oil shot straight up. If I had not immediately pulled my hand back when I let go, it would have gone right into my hand. Okay. We're frying the remaining meatballs. Oh, did you guys were looking at the oil doing nothing that whole time I was breading the meatballs? That's unfortunate. For you... okay, okay. Clean off that, clean off that. Mish is Danish, huh? I haven't done an exploration of Danish food. I briefly looked into Belgian food, and I'm not convinced. Okay, while our meatballs are frying, they're going to be extras on the back over here. So while our meatballs are frying, let's slide over. Near the top of Daneland, as opposed to the underground parts. Okay, fries, and then we got room for probably 2, maybe 3 eggs. Egg. We don't want the dried on bit of mustard. That doesn't look very nice. Mostardo. Okay, our egg. They're still hot because they've been in a oven set to hot. Well, set to 200. 200 is not warm, but it's a I wasn't worried about overshooting them. So, awkwardly, the order in which I cooked them was 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So, which one do we want? I do like the looks of that one. That was the very first one we did. Oh, and my sharpest, well, no, I have a sharper knife. The new one. This one. This knife is hazardously sharp. So I guess we'll use that. This one and the leftmost. Which one do we cut? I think we cut that one. I like the looks of this one. I think this one has a very perfectly even shape. So if we take it and we set it on the plate, then we can well, no jammy yolk. Now the yolk is definitely firmly cooked. Those floating ones must have had jammy yolk because they were floating. On the other hand, our meat is cooked right to the edge of the egg, so that is perfect. Oh, and all of our meatballs are floating. That's a thing. And I need to make a quick fry sauce, and I need to even that out. I'm going to eat it. I was just hoping for a little bit of ooze. We have no green ring. We didn't overshoot the egg at all. We have no green ring whatsoever. So I'm pleased, but I was hoping for a little bit of an oozy middle. Not a full-on soft boil, but just like a little bit of a goo, just a teensy bit of a goo. Gabba de goo. Mayonnaise. I want to make a fry sauce. Is what I want to do. Ooh, I don't have much ketchup left. Awkward. Probably shouldn't be doing this directly in the serving dish. I'm hopeful that some of the other ones are a little bit less cooked still. I did not keep track of which egg went into the boiling water first, so I wasn't able to keep track of which one to take out first. Ugh, this should have been done without a spoon. red bean bitter cream. Welcome. Hey, let's go look at our stovetop for a sec, because all of my eggs have floated. Sorry, meatballs. They're not eggs, they're meatballs. Which means they're not really progressing much in the old cooking front, so I'm going to go ahead and take them out. These aren't eggs. We've been talking about eggs so much that I just have eggs on the brain. Sorry, I called you out of lurk. I shouldn't have called you out of lurk. You explicitly lurked. So, I didn't see you. I didn't see anything. That's off. That's off. Hello. Make Scotch eggs using quail's eggs. No. I am not peeling hard-boiled quail's eggs. Full stop, I refuse. That is not happening. Can you imagine? I mean, you probably can't imagine, but you shouldn't. It's a war crime. Should not have done this in the bowl I was intending to use as the serving bowl. I put an extra egg on there. I think it's going to look better from the front with an extra egg. It looks a little bit crowded from the top, but I think it looks better from the front. We have to get photos, and then we are running back here to taste this stuff before anything cools off any more than it already has. The cut egg is still warm. Oh, the phone's in there with you guys for a change. I brought it out. I brought it out. Oh, no, the egg's got to be the star here, not the fries. Okay. Let's take a bite, see how I did. I mean, the process. Ooh. Good idea, Raya. And my chive is doing really well right now, so it's going to be chive. Means I gotta go quick. What is a Scotch egg exactly? It is a ideally soft-boiled egg. Mine went over. I was shooting for jammy soft as opposed to runny soft, and I overshot it a little bit apparently. Peeled, and then wrapped in sausage meat, breaded and deep fried. The scallions do not stick to those at all. Nope, don't stick to those at all. These are not scallions, these are chives. I'm going to take another photo real quick with those, and then we're running back to taste. No more distractions. If you tell me to add something else, it's not being added at this stage. So that's what we've been doing all day, the process. Because we started with a bunch of raw eggs and a couple whole potatoes and a pound of ground lamb. The meatballs over there are the lamb that didn't get used on the actual Scotched eggs. No time. I've got no time for you. Anyways, I want to bite into this guy before he cools off anymore. Once we cut into him, he started to cool off. I'm going to taste him plain first. Mmm. 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 Ooh. First of all, good crunchy exterior. Good crunchy fried exterior. Advantages of using panko is you get that good crunch. That holds up pretty well too because it's got a lot of airiness. But, first of all, very egg forward. There's no hiding. It tastes like egg. Because, you know, there's an egg. But the lamb, the seasoning on the lamb seems a little light. But the lamb itself is so assertive of a flavor that even though we have just the thinnest little layer on there, it comes through quite strongly. I would season it a little bit more to get a little bit more oomph out of it. Like I said at the beginning, lamb can handle quite a lot of seasoning because it is a very assertive flavor. I also think I didn't distribute my spices into the lamb very effectively because it was quite a dense clump of lamb. I'm going to ignore this talk about ice cream and thyme. It's real good. Let's try it with the mustard, which is the correct way. Mmm. Mmm. I dare say I like it more than with pork sausage. Pork sausage just, you season the heck out of it and you don't get that meaty flavor to it. You get a lot of the seasoning flavor to it. This stuff, the meat that you've used here is coming forward. It's coming out. It's coming out to get you. Which is good. Because if you're gonna, now granted, if you're using pork, that's much cheaper. Lamb's a little more expensive. But I think investing in a little bit more to like taste the ingredients you're putting into it. Because again, egg is a pretty distinctive flavor as well. So having an assertive flavor with the meat works really well. Venison, I think, would be very good. I've only had farmed bison, and farmed bison I think would be good, but I think it would be good in the same way that beef would be good. I've never had wild bison. I'm sure wild bison is much more flavorful. But venison, wild venison, would be very good. It would have a really strong flavor. But either way, it is massively improved by the mustard. Because it's fatty, it's rich, it's meaty. So what it needs, what it really wants, is something sharp. Something sharp and acidic to balance it out, and that's what the mustard's giving me. Well, Flemish, lamb is quite high in fat as well. So I don't think that would be quite the issue. It's real good. I snuck one of the fries. Let's get a really. I snuck one of the fries earlier, but the fries are quite good. They're not holding their crispness, but they still have a good crisp around the edges. So you get that nice crispy texture. I think if I cut them a little bit thinner, yeah. So these end pieces, the little triangles, are much crispier through. Well, this is fry sauce. So it's a mixture of ketchup and mayonnaise. It's about 1 part ketchup to 2 parts mayonnaise. I agree with the notion of mayonnaise on ketchup, or mayonnaise on fries. My favorite fry dip is tartar sauce, which is very mayonnaise forward, but then it has the pickle flavor. I think that is the premier. This guy's over to the side. The premier fry sauce. It does what ketchup-based fry sauce wants to do better. I've tried malt vinegar, not a fan. I think it makes the fries soggy. I like the flavor. I don't like the fact that it makes the fries wet. That said, these are more like chips. These are more like English chips than they are American French fries. I will acknowledge that. Well, you apparently like mustard, right? Pickle. Do I have some pickle juice. You know what that plate needs is a pickle. Yeah, tartar sauce is mayonnaise based. That's what the white part is. It's and then flavorings. A top flavoring, key flavoring is dill. It's usually got dill. It's usually got bits of dill pickle in it. It often has cream of tartar to make it a little bit sharper. You can customize it pretty well. The most basic version is you take some pickle relish, some dill pickle relish, and some mayonnaise, and you mix them together. But that's like the super basic version. Anyways, all this stuff is delicious. And then we were going to try it with some hot sauce. Again, I've got Valentina instead of, what was it? Tapatio? but this is another vinegar-based Mexican-style hot sauce, as opposed to a Louisiana-style hot sauce. Oh, these have such a crispy shell. Okay. Mmm. Mmm. Well, spicy. The acidity is good, but I think you really want a big dip to get a lot of the acidity. Fry sauce is not a thing everywhere. Um, Fry sauce is not even a thing in the entire US, which is where it was born. Um, mm. The fries are really good, and the fry sauce, there's a reason you call it fry sauce. Or fancy sauce is another thing that I've heard it called. The fancy sauce. Um, well, I don't know. The combo, the mixed combo of mayonnaise and ketchup, I don't think if it is in the area you are in, it's probably common. But I didn't grow up with it, and I didn't learn about it until I moved. Um, I feel like it's common wherever it has infiltrated, but has not reached everywhere. Um, so you might think it's common because it's where you are. It's a good combination. Like there's a reason that people keep doing it, and it's a good combination. Um, whew, I need to sit down. We're over 3 hours. Um, before we have our sit down and go, let's see if these worked. Oh, they did. They were cooked right to the middle. They separated from their breading a little bit. They're pretty good. I'll hang on to those. Mm. Mm. Well, I wasn't sure if they'd be cooked all the way to the middle, if there'd be a little pink spot right in the center. But nope. When they all floated, that was the sign. You can't wait for the Scotch eggs to float because that'll mean that the egg part has also fully fried through, which would first of all take forever and second of all ruin it. I'm not going to eat the rest of these now. I'll save those. I'll finish this one. I feel like, and I cannot get this because for some reason no one eats mutton in America. I feel like mutton would be ground mutton would be a really good use here as well. You just had that idea. It's a little bit late. They've all been fried. I also don't have any mozzarella. Um, This hot sauce, Glacier? This is Valentina from whatever that outline is part of Mexico. I don't know the states of Mexico well enough. Land mutton processing in Denver. I know there is one localized area, very localized area, that still uses mutton regularly in the U.S. It's very narrow and localized. Mutton used to be very the thing is, mutton used to be very common in the U.S. Sheep farming in general used to be much more common in the U.S. And it really gave way to beef very quickly and very thoroughly. And it's disappointing that they can't coexist. Especially since beef has gotten prohibitively expensive. Anyways, I would like to sit down and eat this stuff before it gets any colder than it already is. And as I mentioned, we're over 3 hours. We're at 3:20. So, hey, my hair's doing that thing again. Mad scientist hair. I'm going to wrap us up, and I'm going to ship you guys off somewhere. 8:20, huh? It's late. We might just have to make do. With somebody who's on. I saw LaFay went live at the same minute I went live. Literally, I went go live, and the thing popped up. LaFay has gone live. So she should be on right now. There she is. She's playing Night in the Woods. Night in the Woods is fun. Otherwise, we could try food. Thing is, the food channels I follow have all been going quite a long time at this point. I'm going to go bug LaFay. We're going to go bug LaFay because we love bugging LaFay. She wraps up at 9, so we've got the better part of an hour to hang out with LaFay. Yeah, so thanks for showing up, everybody. I know I missed last week. I don't know. We got to like 4 o'clock, and I was just like exhausted. I hadn't done anything during the day. I couldn't figure out what had tired me out so much. But I was just kind of like could hardly keep my eyes open. I was so tired. Don't know what happened then. That was weird. No telling. But thanks, everybody. Thanks for showing up, sticking around. Did we close that? It doesn't. Yeah. Thanks to Homer, Flemish, Bob. I'm remembering your name. And Weeformer. That's 3 subs and a bunch of bits. I don't have an exclamation mark raid command. Ryuya's got the... there you go. Ryuya's got a second backup. Grab one of those raid messages, and I will see you on the other side. We're already in the countdown. We're going to have to make time for those srirachas at some point, because there's too many of them.